So now let's talk about the problem of the day. During this time, we'll think together about how to represent and solve this problem and what it teaches us about math. When I ask you questions, please make sure to answer out loud, just like you would in school. So we see the problem is asking how many times greater Taco's walk is than Fajitas, which means it's a multiplicative comparison problem. What are those thinking questions we've been using to help us with these problems? Say them out loud. Good. What is being compared? Which thing has the greater amount? And which amount am I given? I've put those on our VA again today to help us remember to use them. When you use these thinking questions, you jotted that we're comparing Taco and Fajitas walk, that Taco has the greater amount, and that we are given both Fajita and Taco's amount. That's interesting because in this comparison, we know both the larger and the smaller amount. So knowing all this, how could we represent this problem if we wanted to use a tape diagram? Say it out loud. Yeah, it's interesting. We could put F, right, for fajita and T for taco. For fajita, we could put a group of 12. And then for taco, well, we could show that his walk is 48 minutes because we know that. But what do we need to figure out in this problem? Say it out loud. Right. We need to figure out how many times greater Taco's walk is than Fajita's. We don't know how many times we're going to have to repeat 12 in order to make it equal to 48 minutes of Fajita's walk. So I'll note that on my tape diagram by drawing an arrow from the smaller to the larger amount and saying something like, question mark, how many times greater? Okay. So how could we show this problem with an equation? Say that out loud. Sure. 12, which is fajita, right, times a variable equals 48 for taco. Okay. Why did I put a variable here? Say it out loud. Right. We don't know how many times greater Taco's walk is than Fajita's. So we don't know what we have to multiply Fajita's walk by to make it equal Taco's. I'll put that annotation on my number sentence as well. How many times greater T than F? We don't know yet. Okay, so when we are looking for the times greater or fewer, we say that we are looking for the multiplier. The multiplier is the factor you are using to compare the two amounts. Read this with me. Go. The multiplier is the factor we use to compare the two amounts. So, how could we solve? Say it out loud. So there's a lot of different things that you might have said. Remember, you're brilliant, and there are different ways to tackle math. You might have said you could think 12 times what equals 48. You might have said you could take 48 and divide it by 12. You might have said you could make an array with 12 in each group and count how many groups it takes to get to 48. Any of those ways would work. So I included examples of a couple of those ways in the visual anchor. I did an array here. I put 12 in each row. I found it takes 4 rows to get to 48. And then here, I show what it would look like to have a total of 48 and make groups of 12, or put 12 in each group. You have to get 4 groups to get to 48. I bet you can come up with even more efficient ways to solve that problem. The question I'm really interested in, though, is why does it make sense to solve this problem with multiplication or division? Say it out loud. Yeah, in this problem, we're missing the multiplier or factor, so we could think what factor we need to multiply by to get to the larger amount, or we could divide the larger amount by the factor we have to find the missing factor. To find the multiplier, we can multiply or divide. Click the arrow to move to the next slide.